Taylor Swift got some fine friends. I'm
She
not
got some beautiful deep chocolate skin, like you could dive in it and swim.
who's
Who?
Soraya.
Well, not Taylor Swift.
Welcome to the Switch Style Podcast, where we encourage you to think beyond what you hear. I'm your host, Smooth, and joined as always by Riggs and Vaughn. Vaughn, what up?
What up? How you doing today?
I'm great. Glad to see you, as always.
That's right. Glad to see you too.
Riggs, what up, man?
Man, nothing chilling. What's going on, everybody?
Chilling. You holding the mic like a rapper.
That's what I got to do so that people can hear me.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, with his earphones on.
And audience, welcome back. Welcome to episode 50. And on episode 50, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. And I'll give you a quick rundown. First, we'll talk about Nicki Minaj. She finally responded to Remy Ma's diss record with the diss of her own. And we'll update the charts for you. We'll let you know what's coming out this Friday, March 17th. And we're actually reviewing Fat Joe and Remy Ma's Plata o Plomo. So that's it, the rundown. So we'll actually jump into everything. But before we do that, if you like what you hear, go subscribe to the podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all at
Switch Style Podcast.
And also check us out on Facebook,
Instagram,
and
Twitter.
all right, here we go. So let's talk about Nicki Minaj.
Let's talk about Nicki Minaj.
Vaughn.
talk about Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, Nicki Minaj. Vaughn, was No Frauds. Was that a quality diss record?
She only spit like what? 3 lines?
Yeah. And well, let me preface our comments by saying this. So, audience, if you're not aware, Nicki Minaj, she released 3 singles, including No Frauds featuring Drake and Lil Wayne, Changed It, and Regret in Your Tears over this past weekend. Now, I don't know where you've been. If you hadn't been anywhere, this was all in response to Remy Ma's first diss record, Sheether. And soon after, Remy Ma dropped another diss record titled Another One. So it took Nicki Minaj about 2 weeks to respond, and she finally did. And the latest is that Nicki Minaj, Vaughn and I talked about this earlier, she actually offered Remy Ma $500,000 if she could drop a hit record within 72 hours and book a show and interview without mentioning Nicki Minaj's name. And just a little bit more backstory. On February 23rd and 24th, Nicki Minaj, she sent out some subliminal shots on verses on the Jason Derulo song titled Swallow. Man, that title is a bit inappropriate. Swallow. I'm going to have to listen to that. Swallow. I wonder what they swallowing.
That's a bird.
Right. Swallow. Yeah. And she also dropped another verse on Gucci Mane's Make Love. So now, Vaughn, I'll go back to you now that we updated the audience.
Yes.
So what were your thoughts again on Nicki Minaj's diss?
She only said 3 lines. Okay, yeah, we know she was talking about Remy. My whole thing is, if you're going to go to high road all the way. Why you got to offer her money? Why you got to... Because she just feel like she was in her face. But it's too late. I don't think really people are really all that interested now.
Riggs, what about you? What were your thoughts on it?
I think she put out a dud. Remy went out of she's not all that. She's trash. And all she about is her booty and, foolishness. And when she went back at it, I won't say she's a terrible rapper, because Nicki Minaj, she does have some skills, but she's not seeing Remy, so she really should have just left it alone. She did take a minute to come out, that, too long, and she didn't do it justice. She didn't, go at it. Pretty much anybody who's listened to it is like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's trash. Remy got you.
Yeah, I don't think it was completely horrible. I guess the standards were just set so phenomenally high. Like anything she put out would have been considered trash, or it just wouldn't meet the standards that Remy set. So I don't think it's horrible, but I think the bigger play was that it was more so a business move for Nicki. I was kind of curious about the whole Drake and Lil Wayne thing, and I know she was probably thinking a lot further than the beef. She wanted the record to actually get on the charts, which is going to do. And unfortunately, she's actually going to pass. She's going to break Aretha Franklin's record. And audience, if you don't know, Aretha Franklin holds the record for most entries on the Hot 100 chart, Billboard's Hot 100 chart, which we'll talk about later. And as I mentioned earlier, Nicki dropped 3 records, and I think it's unfortunate because I think Nicki, she'll have the record, but it's flawed. A lot of the records, she was the featured artist as opposed to the leading artist. But back to the diss record, it was solid. I don't think it's just completely horrible. It's just the standards were set so high with Remy Ma's record. Whatever she did, it just wouldn't have measured up to.
It was like, to me, Remy got all up in there, all on everything. Only thing she talked about, like, you went to jail for, what'd she say, for a stack. You left your son for, like, it wasn't really.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple of lines that was, called the BK basic. I mean, not BK. Whatever, basic bro from
The Bronx.
From the Bronx.
Yeah.
Boogie down basic bro. Yeah, that's what it is. Stuff,
Yeah.
a little. Yeah.
And I think the fact that Remy's story is so publicly known, I think that kind of took some of the song away. And Nicki's is probably, her story is probably more so known too. It's a well known story, but you could tell that Remy actually put effort into her diss record. I mean, the thing was 7 minutes long, and Nicki, she put out one verse and she had Wayne and Drake propped it up, which I didn't think they didn't put their effort into it either.
No.
I wish she just would have left them off of it completely. I didn't get that whole
But then she wouldn't have had
thing.
nothing to say, because it seemed like she wouldn't have had nothing to say.
Right. So, I mean, it is what it is, but you guys think she dropped it too late?
Yeah, I think everybody is not interested in it no
I think
more.
she dropped it too whack. That's all. Like, I mean, to be honest, I mean, if she would have just
way of looking at it.
come out hard and just spit venom, you know what I mean? At least you would be like, ooh, I don't know. She would at least have 4 solid minutes, at least 3 of something. You know what I mean? But she would drop like 1 minute and 30 seconds, and out of that 1 minute and 30 seconds, she had 15 seconds of hotness against, Remy Martin, who put out 7 minutes
Straight.
and had at least 5 minutes of heat.
And I agree with both of you. I don't think it's the fact that I think whatever she did, she would have gone down in history as the loser of the beef. But I think her effort, she gave piss poor effort. And that was probably my biggest problem with it. I mean, if you, like Vaughn said, if you're not going to do it, just don't, both of you said it, don't do it at all.
Right.
If you're not going to put full effort into it. And I think that was probably what was more so disappointing. And I watched a lot of interviews in the past when Remy Ma went into jail, and she was saying that, they at one point they supported each other. And so, for everything to get to this point, it's unfortunate. But I think Nicki let a lot of people down. I mean, she did what she did. It was more so a business move. She's going to score 3 more hits on the chart, which was probably her goal. And Vaughn, you mentioned the baiting too, telling her to put out a hit record within 72 hours and this and that. So I don't know. It is what it is. But where do we go from here? How does this project onto their careers, if you had to guess?
My whole thing is take it and respect your elders. And as the notorious B.I.G. said, F all the bickering beef.
Vaughn quoting Biggie. There you go.
We just listened to Biggie.
Riggs, what about you? What happens now? Where do they go from here?
A great majority of Nicki Minaj's audience, honestly, are not hip hop. They listen to the rap on the radio, and they like her style or whatever, but they're not hip hop. So it didn't hurt her that greatly amongst hip hop heads, people who are in a particular community and love hip hop. Yeah, she took some respect away from herself or gave it away. For Remy, she already had respect on that level, and now she has more. It does put her more like in the spotlight because people are talking about it. So what she does with it, I don't know. I hope she takes full advantage and keeps it moving, keeps spitting, and I think a lot of it is hooks and tracks and poise on records. Those things are what keeps a lot of street level rappers from blowing up. You got somebody like Jadakiss, who was one of the nicest to ever do it, but he doesn't have the hits like somebody else who has a certain direction to the album, a certain production. His mixtapes are ridiculous, but the commercial stuff, just don't hit the same. So I mean, it seems like she's coming up on that formula based on the Plomo album. So I think and hope that it will do her some good.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think this was a great opportunity for females specifically in hip hop. And I think if they went back for a few rounds, and I mean a few quality rounds, I think it would have been a good thing for female MCs, because it could have showed not only hip hop heads but the rest of the world that, you know, there are quality females, women who can actually rap and do it at a high level. And that was probably what was more so disappointing for me about the entire thing. I think Remy Ma held up her end of the bargain, and Nicki Minaj, it became more of a mockery of itself, in my opinion. But, you know, it is what it is. So we'll actually move on to the next thing.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll actually go ahead and update the charts for you guys. So we got a lot of great news on the charts this week.
All right.
A lot of great stats. So hope y'all ready.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Congratulations, Ed Sheeran. Divide is the #1 album on the Billboard 200, earning 451,000 units.
That's what's up.
322,000 in traditional album sales. Thoughts on Ed Sheeran?
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, me three. We talked about him last week, and boy, he put out a well-rounded album.
Yep, he did, and he actually also gave us a boost too. So yeah, our Ed Sheeran review has been played almost 300 times as of today.
Whoop, whoop.
And that's probably the fastest moving review we've ever done. So thank you, Ed Sheeran. And also, Divide is the biggest chart debut since J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only, which debuted at #1 with 492,000 units in December of 2016. And also, Khalid's American Teen debuts at #9, earning 37,000 units, 12,000 in traditional album sales. And audience, we might actually talk about Khalid down the line somewhere. But back to Ed Sheeran news. On the UK charts, Ed Sheeran scored a whopping 672,000 units in its first week, and all 16 tracks from Divide are in the top 20
Wow.
on the singles chart.
All of them.
Yep. So if you combine his sales in those two countries, here in America and in the UK, he sold over 1 million.
That's what's up.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's not combining all of the other countries. And he actually went double platinum in the UK. And audience, if you listen to the show, we told you last week that in the UK you only need 300,000 copies sold to qualify for platinum, to be certified platinum. So congrats, Ed. And we'll actually move on to the Hot 100. So here we go. Guess who? Ed Sheeran again. He earns the 7th week at #1 with The Shape of You. I mean, this guy's killing it.
He sure is. I'm proud of him.
And also, 10 additional songs from Divide debuted on the Hot 100. And if you add all of those together along with the existing songs that were on the Hot 100 already, 13 of the 16 tracks from Divide are on the Hot 100.
Wow.
That's big.
Yep. So Ed is by far, he's probably living up to what he said he wanted to be. And he's probably the most popular male artist on the planet right now. It's looking that way by the numbers, at least.
Can you imagine what it feels like to hear that? To wake up and, of course, you put the work in, but man, the hottest male artist in the world.
In the world. And he's #1 in Australia as well. And I'm not sure about any of the other countries, but he's the biggest artist in the world. And I think if you go look at our numbers too, the Switch Style Podcast, if you look at our numbers, it proves it too.
Yeah.
And most of our plays actually came from overseas. Yeah, there were some cities in London not London, but in the UK that I'd never heard of that listened to the show.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm happy for him. I see he gets around.
Yeah, he does.
He gets around. He been with a lot of people.
Yeah, he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said he smashed one of Taylor Swift's friends.
What?
Yeah, might as well.
He looked like he one of them tight. He look
Sneaky.
yeah.
One of her friends?
We say slick
Yeah.
MFs.
I mean, yeah.
Have you seen her friends though? Taylor got some nice friends.
He's Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, she got some. And one of her friends I would marry today if she asked me.
Oh really?
Yes, I love Soraya
Soraya.
from Empire.
Oh, okay. The one on Empire who's like, kind of like a
singer.
Rihanna trick.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love her. Soraya, if you hear this, I already told you.
So
That's
they
my
good
love.
friends? Like hanging out friends? No?
Yeah, her and Taylor Swift.
Oh.
Yeah, Taylor Swift got some fine friends. I'm
Okay.
not
Got some beautiful deep chocolate skin, like you could dive in it and swim.
who's
Who?
Soraya.
Well, not Taylor Swift.
Yes, definitely not chocolate. Maybe white chocolate or
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, congrats Ed, and also in other Ed Sheeran news, he's actually signed on to be on the 7th and final season of Game of Thrones. So all you Game of Thrones fans, look out for Ed Sheeran. I know Slick Money would be happy to hear that.
I know he would. He loved that show.
Yeah, he
Boy.
loved Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
So congrats Ed
Shout out
Sheeran.
Slick Money.
Shout out Slick. So that's it on the charts. And we'll actually move on to what's new. So let's check out some album releases that's coming out this Friday, March 17th. So look out for new releases from Rick Ross. He's back with his latest, Rather You Than Me. Depeche Mode, they're back with their latest, Spirit. Pitbull, he's back with his latest, Climate Change. And Von's favorite guy,
Mr. Drake.
Drizzy, the sixth guy. Got a lot of names. He's supposedly going to be back this Saturday, March 18th, with his More Life project that he's promised for a long time. It was actually supposed to come out in the fourth quarter of last year, 2016. So we'll actually see what happens. He made a post on Instagram saying that it's going to come out this weekend. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, Mr. Drake.
Are you looking forward to it?
Not really, but it's Drake, and I'm gonna be honest with you. We gonna talk about it because Drake is a popular artist, and
Yes, he is.
and he could do a certain thing for us, i.e., what Ed Sheeran just did for us. So
Right.
chances are we'll probably talk about him because people love Drake, and I would love to see Drake take a step back and just really recoup and really put together a solid body of work because I know he's capable of doing it. It's just the quantity isn't always a great thing. I prefer quality over
And
quantity.
then I guess too, with his success, a lot of people probably feel like he did do that already. But the last album, like we spoke about, left something to be desired, but it was solid, but not the juggernaut it reflected to be in sales.
So we'll see what happens. And he's been on tour. He's still in tour overseas. So we'll see what happens when he gets back, and we'll see what happens with the More Life project. So again, congrats Rick Ross, Depeche Mode, Pitbull, and Drake. Audience, look out for new albums from them this week. So let's get into my favorite part of the show. I'm actually excited about this one because I learned a lot about Fat Joe and Remy Ma. And yeah, I want the audience to learn something too. So y'all ready?
I'm ready.
We're ready.
All right. So audience, before we start, we just like to tell you a little bit about the artists. Give you some background just in case you don't know who Fat Joe or Remy Ma are. So let's do it. Joe Cartagena was born August 19th, 1970 in Bronx, New York. Briggs, is it Bronx or the Bronx?
I'll give you a bit of an education.
Okay, please do.
It's the Bronx, and even a lot of New Yorkers don't know it's called the Bronx because most of Bronx used to be a farm, and it was called by the family, the Bronx. Family owned most of the Bronx. So instead of the Bronx family farm, when it was taken over by the city, it was just the Bronx.
Wow.
So that way you can tell the difference between.
No, it's just the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
It's not Bronx and the Bronx. It's just the Bronx.
The Bronx. Okay.
The bridge.
Wow.
Bridge
Learn
is
something
over.
new.
The bridge is over.
And the Bronx is also the birthplace of hip hop, correct?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Yeah.
It's to get down.
Yes, to get down. And audience, if you don't know, go look up DJ Kool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, the not Holy, I don't know where I came up with that word. The Holy Trinity, that's what I like to call them, of hip hop. But back to Fat Joe. So if you don't know Fat Joe, he is also known by other nicknames such as Fat Joe the Gangster, Joey Crack, and Don Cartagena. And some of those names will actually make sense in a few seconds when we keep talking.
And which is funny because it's actually he pronounces it wrong, and he is Spanish, so I don't,
What, his own name?
It's Don Cartagena.
That's what I was thinking, because on the record, a lot of his records, he always says
right,
Cartagena.
Right. Hey, I don't know. It always puzzled me.
Yeah, so I don't know. But also Fat Joe or Joey Crack, he signed with Relativity Records in the early 90s and released his 1993 debut Represent, and Jealous One's Envy followed in 1995. In the late 90s, he signed with Atlantic Records where he released 4 albums including Don Cartagena, Jealous One, Still Envy, Loyalty, and All or Nothing. He hit his commercial peak in 2002 with the top 20 hits Sweet Thuggin' featuring R. Kelly and What's Love featuring Ashanti. Next, the massive #1 single Lean Back from the Terror Squad's True Story album followed in 2004, and that thing was so huge.
Boy.
Yeah, that's still probably, I think that's among one of the greatest hip-hop songs of all time.
Right.
Everybody
hip-hop
was
party
leaning
songs,
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Young, old.
And the thing about it, it was, we're here in Atlanta, and that's where that whole movement came from. That whole lean back, the whole rock away,
Yeah. I watched that video and Kevin Hart was in it, and that was in '04, and I'm like, man, look at where this guy is now.
Right, where he at now, right.
Yeah. It was a scene. They were coming up to a house party, and he was like the doorman, and Lil Jon was like, let us in. And the crowd was like, yeah, I want to get in the party. They was like, yeah, whatever Lil Jon says, but it was hilarious. But to close out Fat Joe's quick bio, to date, his career accolades, they include 10 solo albums, 2 Terror Squad albums, 14 Hot 100 entries, and 4 Grammy nominations, 2 of which were for this year for him and Remy Ma's single All the Way Up, and we'll talk about that in a second.
I got one Fat Joe fun fact.
Yeah.
Does anybody know why he's called Joey Crack?
What, because he sells drugs?
That's what everybody would assume, but they called him Joey Crack because when he was a kid and had to go to the chalkboard, he would go and raise his arm to go right on it, and you could see the crack of his tail,
Wow.
So they call him Joey Crack.
Wow. Yeah, audience, if you've never seen Fat Joe, he's lost a lot of weight since the 90s.
A lot of weight.
Yes, he has.
But he was bigger back in the 90s.
After Pun died.
Yeah, I was gonna say after he died, he was like he had to do something.
Yeah. So let's learn a little bit about Remy Ma real fast. Reminisce Smith was born May 30th, 1980 in the Bronx, New York. In the late 1990s, she became a member of the Terror Squad through her association with Big Pun. She broke through on MOP's Annie Up remix, another classic, in 2003, and Terror Squad's Lean Back in 2004. Remy Ma released her debut album, There's Something About Remy, based on a true story in 2006, and the BX Files followed in 2007. In 2008, Remy was convicted of assault for shooting Makita Barnes Joseph, reportedly over a dispute involving $3,000. And audience, I'll leave it at that because those are the facts. There's a lot of variations of the story. So we do know that she was convicted of assault, and according to multiple sources, it was reportedly over $3,000, but the number could have been more or less.
Well, from what I heard, she stole the money from her. And she a hood chick. You don't take nothing from me.
I don't know which one you read, but the story I read was that they were in the club and Remy told the girl to hold her purse. And Remy came back and got her purse and her money was gone, which led to the altercation. Did you read something similar?
That's what I read.
That's what you read? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we read. We don't know if those are complete facts or not. So audience, I encourage you to do your own research, but it was something similar. And just to close out Remy, she was released from Bedford Hills Correctional Facility, which is in New York, in 2014 and has resumed her recording career. And in 2016, she released the Grammy-nominated platinum single All the Way Up with Fat Joe, which leads us to 2017's, the one we're about to talk about, Plata o Plomo. Did I say that right?
Plomo.
Yeah, there you go. Which translates to, there's a few translations. It's silver or lead. Did you have a translation?
I think yes, it's more like drugs or guns.
Yeah, I think that's what they said on Wendy show.
It could be translated in so many different ways. I don't know.
He got it from the show Narcos.
Narcos, yeah, and we'll talk about that too, which probably inspired this album. And one more thing before we start, just to boost Remy up a little bit more. And it's funny, I completely flip-flop from last week. I'm not completely in defense of Remy Ma. But Remy Ma does have one thing that Nicki Minaj doesn't have, a #1 record. Nicki Minaj has never had a number one record on the Hot 100.
Wow.
And Remy's number one is Lean Back. So I hadn't heard that thrown around a lot. But you heard it here first on the Switch Style Podcast. Heard it here first. So, Riggs, let me go to you. When did you first hear Fat Joe and Remy Ma?
Oh, first time I heard Fat Joe was, years ago with that Flo Joe song. A long time ago. I think he had 2 singles that were out like a long time before he actually had an album out. And they, of course, in New York, they got airplay on the radio. So I had heard from him a good while before the album.
What about Remy Ma?
I think I like mixtapes and stuff like that with that whole Terror Squad.
Vaughn, what about you? When did you first hear Fat Joe and Remy Ma?
Well, them together, of course, Lean Back. But I remember Remy Ma from the song Conceited.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I remember her from that. And then when they got together, when she joined Terror Squad, of course, Lean Back. I really never, like I listened to Radio Play, and that was Radio Play. But yeah, that's when I first caught on to them.
The first time I saw Fat Joe was in a Big Pun video, the one that they did with Joe was featured. I'm Still Not a Player.
Oh, okay. Right.
That was the first, and
Wow.
little that I know.
A lot.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that joint.
Big Pun pretty much surpassed Fat Joe in popularity and acclaim. He was more of the, how could I say it? He was more of the acclaimed rapper. He was the more sought after or revered. He was the more revered.
Yeah, more flow, more charisma. He just had, he just had it.
Right. Because I was always under the impression that Big Pun put Fat Joe on, but it was actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Fat Joe was the one that actually put Big Pun on.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Big Pun not Big Pun, but Fat Joe put Big Pun on, but Fat Joe came out in '93.
Yeah, he had a label deal and everything like that. I think Pun came out through his,
and I
his
think
label or whatever.
I think the name of that label was Mystique,
something like that.
Mystique Entertainment, and they had a distribution and production deal through Atlantic. So Fat Joe was the one that put Big Pun on, and Fat Joe, just to throw this out there as well, Fat Joe, he's also responsible. You could say he was responsible for Remy in a way, even though she was more so associated with Pun, but also DJ Khaled and some producers we'll talk about later, Cool and Dre. But that was my first experience with Fat Joe, and he went on to have the big pop hits in the early 2000s. But with Remy Ma, I want to say the first time I really heard Remy, it might have been Lean Back, either Lean Back or the Annie Up remix. So those were my first experiences with both of them. Go ahead.
Boy, when you talk about Pun and Joe, boy, when they redid that deep cover, oh my God, they killed that.
They did. The Snoop and Dr. Dre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they remixed it.
Oh yeah, you gotta hear that if you never heard it.
I probably did, just way back in the membrane.
Yeah, them boys are huge, man. And I'm glad Fat Joe really got his weight in check because he saw what happened to his buddy, and that's it's unfortunate because who knows what Big Pun would have been doing these days. But back to the review, Riggs, why do you think Fat Joe continues to rap about his drug dealing past?
I think because he still has a deep in the streets. Like I've seen him here and there, in South Beach or whatever. He's definitely not Hollywood at all. Like you don't get too close to Fat Joe. Like, you might get your head taken off. So, yeah, that's why he's still connected.
Vaughn, what about you?
I'm sure that was a very meaningful time of his life where he learned a lot of lessons, and that's just probably how he rap. He plays it out, talks it out in his rap. He a thug dude. I mean, that's his life. That's what so I guess the gangster, it come out. The gangster rap come out.
Yeah, he is, and me personally, I'm glad it did. Riggs alluded to it earlier that the name of the album was inspired by the movie, the Netflix series Narcos. And I forget which song it's on, but Fat Joe mentioned that maybe I've been watching too much Narcos. And I had it in my notes, but I didn't print it out. But he mentioned that he's been watching too much Narcos, and throughout the album, he mentions several drug dealing figures. He mentions El Chapo. He mentions Pablo Escobar, of course, and he also mentions, I think his name is Rich Porter. He was one of the guys that the movie Paid in Full was based off of.
Right.
Oh,
But see, here's the
okay.
thing though. With the era that Joe came up with, that's a constant. That's not anything new. They've always mentioned those same names and others. So I mean, for him to, of course, he can identify with it. And then, if he's got a knee deep in the streets, that's where some of the stuff was coming down from anyway. So,
And all that leads me to my next question, which was, do you prefer the pop Fat Joe or the gangster Fat Joe? And me personally, I prefer the gangster Fat Joe.
Do what you comfortable with.
Yeah, because I mean, he sounds as hungry as he has in probably the last 15 years on this album.
I agree.
And to me, and not that they were bad records, but the pop records he did, We Thuggin' with R. Kelly, What's Love with Ashanti, I think they weren't bad records, but I think in his catalog, I think those are probably the least respected records in his catalog, and those are probably my least favorite records that he has.
Probably his best selling.
Yeah, they were.
They
They
were
were
the best album.
right.
Yeah.
They
But
were,
I'm glad you was able to see another side of him though too. I'm glad,
Even on this album, he's got some of that type of stuff.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
different.
Those are my
things.
least favorite songs on the album, but We Thuggin' I actually like.
Mhm.
But What's Love I could do without.
Vaughn, what about you? Which Fat Joe do you prefer?
I think I prefer the gangster, but I'm glad that he do give you some pop.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's versatile. He can do both. But I like the gangster part because that's really showing who he is.
Yeah.
And he can get down with the Ashanti and R. Kelly. He can get down with them too.
Riggs, what about you? Which one do you prefer most?
Oh, Gangster for sure. Yeah, he got oh man, I can't remember the name of the song on Jealous One Still Envy. It's not one of the feature songs, but it's just gangster. Like it hits you in your gut. Like, oh my God. Like you just gotta listen to it with a twisted lip. So I definitely prefer Gangster Joe.
Yeah.
Which is mostly what he is.
Yeah, it is. And going back and looking over Fat Joe's career, there's a really interesting career arc. You could tell in the beginning of his career, he was talking about the drug dealing, the street life. He was talking about those things. But as he got deeper into the rap game, he evolved as a person. He probably stepped out of the streets and he started to make some of these pop records, which I think some of those records will probably set him up for life. They're going to still draw a lot of publishing for him, which I think was smart on his part. But I think it shows he can step into the streets and make a record for all the hood dudes, and he can go pop and still make I won't call it a great pop record, but a successful
Right.
pop record. But I think Lean Back was just the perfect balance of them both, because that record had the right amount of pop sensibility along with a street sensibility, if that makes any sense. So
And anytime a song has something where everybody lean back and everybody doing a dance, that's gonna be big.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that along with All the Way Up, those are probably I think those are probably his two defining moments of his career. Probably Lean Back and All the Way Up, because they both shifted the culture, in my opinion. Vaughn, let me ask you this. Now let's go to Remy. Do you think her time in jail added to her mystique?
yes, because people interested in what is she all about? What her time there, and you could tell throughout the album. She talk about what her PO said, don't do this, and it's her life. So hey, I don't think no chick. A lot of dudes can't survive jail, but she did.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's what draw people to you and want to hear what you got to say, then hey. And one thing I'm gonna say about Fat Joe and them, they said that they was gonna wait for her, and they did. They waited for her.
They did, and I commend those guys, Fat Joe and mostly her husband, Papoose. Because for him to stick around, and I know anytime a loved one is in jail, it's tough. It's not only tough on the person in jail, but it's tough on those loved ones outside of it. So I commend Papoose specifically, and Fat Joe and the rest of the crew. Riggs, what about you? Do you think it added to her mystique?
Oh, definitely. People like a champion, even if it's a people's type of champion. You know what I mean? Somebody who does what they say. So a lot of people will say, oh, you trust me, I'm going to do this, I'll do that. And even though, we're not here to glorify any gun violence or anything like that, but the fact that someone down and, she went to her purse, her boot, whatever, trunk, it wouldn't handle business. Now, was it wise? No, because I'm pretty sure she would rather have been in the free world than in jail. But it definitely, solidifies a whole persona.
And she the type of chick, don't disrespect me.
Yeah, she is.
That's that hood chick.
It did add to her mystique, and I forgot what I was watching the other day, but it was two guys on the corner. They were arguing like, yeah, he ain't never been shot. He ain't do nothing. He ain't hard or something. And I just think it's that certain mentality that a certain community has. The harder you are, the more credibility it gives you. And I think that was the case with Remy. And I don't think she necessarily needed that because she already had the reputation of being real hard-nosed, real ferocious, or just a real, for lack of a better word, a real grimy rapper. And I don't think she needed jail time, but I think it definitely boosted her mystique. But Riggs, let me ask you this. Could she have been bigger if she didn't go to jail? What do you think her career would be if she didn't go to jail?
Man, that's something I don't think I could really answer. Man, things go so many different ways due to contractual things, due to timing of just, certain types of songs coming out. I mean, who knows? It's fortunate for her that she is not out now, that she was able to just roll right back into TV show, and then now into that successful single. And hopefully this will be a successful album because I like it.
Vaughn, what about you?
I'm going to say Remy said herself, she took a lot of things for granted. Sometimes in life, we have to sit ourselves down. Sometimes things, when we doing too much, and she says she regrets doing it. She does regret doing it. But sometimes situations have to sit us down, and maybe that's what she needed to be set down. So who's to say what could have went which way? But maybe that was the time she needed. And because now she done did her time, now she can come back and she has a more focus. And you could tell after the diss record, she focused. I mean, she probably was in there practicing. That girl took it all out. Did she breathe? I mean,
No, she can't, especially on these first 4 songs.
Yeah, like did she breathe? That's what I'm like. So she built her stamina up when she was in there. So sometimes, yeah, things need to be set down. So I don't know for sure, like Rick said, I can't say for sure if she would have been big or not, but I think her being set down, that helped her.
Yeah, and this is the best I've ever heard Remy, and you mentioned it earlier, the Conceited record. She had a big record with Swiss Beats. It wasn't huge, but it charted on the R&B and hip hop charts. What's love, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Get your right hand up, put your left hand up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the transition that both of them have taken. They've gone more towards the streets instead of the chasing their pop success. Because I think it just fits them so much better. But would her career have been better? Like Riggs, it's hard to say. But one thing that I want to point out that she said on an interview that I watched with her, she was talking about female artists, and she was talking about Nicki Minaj. This was an interview with World Star Hip Hop when she was in jail.
Yes, okay.
And she was pretty much saying that there's always this notion that only one female can exist at a time in hip hop. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I love about the music industry, or just the world in general, is that there's so much room for everybody.
Right. Multiple
personalities or artists can exist at the same time. Who knows? If she didn't go to jail, she might not have had the same focus. Mm-hmm. She could have gone about her career lackadaisically, or she could have not approached it with the same drive or hunger that she does now. So it's hard to say, but I think she could have gone on to have a very noteworthy or very respectable career. I don't know if she would have had the same impact as a Nicki Minaj, because I think Nicki Minaj has great pop sensibilities. Mm-hmm. They always don't come out as great records. The same thing with Fat Joe. I think Fat Joe has great pop sensibilities, but I don't think it always translates well to the record. So who knows what Remy Ma would have done. And she had a strong track record prior to going in, and she was a part of a #1 hit. So you never know. But Vaughn, let me ask you this. Well, let's do this. What were some of your favorite songs?
What were some of my favorite songs? I liked, of course, All the Way Up. How Can I Forget? Go Crazy.
Yeah.
That's my number one right there.
Yeah.
That is hot. Cooking, that's one of my. Money Showers, like that. Too Quick, and I like Dreaming.
Well, you know I love Dreaming. Got that Stephanie Mills on there.
Yeah,
I would have thought.
yeah. That was a good look. That was a
Boy,
good look.
I heard it and I was like, no, that can't be.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Is that?
Yes, it
What?
was. And she sound good too.
Boy.
Yeah. And
It's like it's 1980.
yeah, and audience, just if you don't know who Stephanie Mills is, another try to history lesson. I feel good all over. I've learned to respect the power of love. She's also a Grammy.
Something in the way you
winner
make me
herself.
feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy.
Hey, y'all
Yeah.
made me have to listen to me some Stephanie Mills.
Yeah, so audience, go check out Stephanie Mills. She pretty much, I won't say she came up under Ron Isley them, but she was a big associate in along with him and Angela Winbush. And Angela Winbush wrote and produced some stuff for her as well. So go check out Stephanie Mills. But go ahead, Riggs.
And when we did the Prince thing, didn't she also date Prince for a while?
I don't know. She did.
Mills dated Prince.
Stephanie Mills. And they just had conflicting busy schedules and never really.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Wow, that's
Google
interesting.
it.
Because I never, no disrespect to anybody, but I just didn't think maybe she would be his type.
Prince like the chocolate?
He has bad chicks. But audience, Fat Joe also said that Stephanie Mills is his favorite singer, which is why she's on there. But go ahead, Riggs. I know you.
Right. And honestly, I like all the songs except for the couple of the ones where he's talking about the chicks or whatever. Yeah, everything else is dope.
I'm gonna say it's a lot nasty on it. They nasty. They nasty.
My favorite on the album was Spaghetti.
Oh boy,
And
Spaghetti's dope.
Yeah, Remy killed that. When Remy did the hook, she had a verse, and Kent Jones was actually on the track.
He all over it.
Yeah, Kent Jones is
He
everywhere.
actually helps to really make this album.
He does. And audience, if you don't know, Kent Jones had the huge single last year, top 10 hit, Don't Mind. Telling me this, telling me that. That. So Kent Jones, he was all over the album. He was on Swear to God, Spaghetti, How Can I Forget, and
Boy,
something else.
that's a dope
He
joint.
did a
How
lot
can
of
I
writing.
forget?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too.
And Kent, if you're wondering about the link or the association, Kent is signed to DJ Khaled's We the Best Music label,
Okay.
which is under Epic Records, where my favorite music man resides, L.A. Reid.
Oh, okay.
That's the connection right there. And of course, we told you DJ Khaled came up under Fat Joe, Big Pun, all them. But back to the album, Spaghetti is my favorite. Remy Ma killed it. Beggar, and Dune, and no, get it. And one of my favorite women of all time actually turned me on to Spaghetti, Jill Scott. Jill Scott posted on Twitter, it said she was serving her husband to Spaghetti. And this was before I listened to the album. And whatever Jill Scott says, I'm going to go check it out.
You go check it out. That's my girl.
So I went and checked it out, and Spaghetti is that warning. They opened the album very hard.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Fat Joe had a line. He mentioned that he was selling drugs and he felt bad about it, but at the same time, he also admitted this Rolex still looking nice on my arm though. Even though I felt bad about it, I'm not mad that I got this Rolex out of it. And he also mentioned how he saw so many people OD and overdose to his audience. But Swear to God was another one. All the way up, of course. Go Crazy. When I heard Go Crazy,
Woo!
they sampled Floetry's Say Yes.
Yes.
On Go Crazy. And when I heard it, one of the first things, and Seven Streeter and BJ the Chicago Kid
yeah.
on the song. When I was listening to it, I really wanted to hear Seven's album. I love Seven's music. I love the way she looks, obviously. And Seven was saying some stuff that all you young people out there, you probably don't need to hear it. But Go Crazy was a good one. Dreaming was a good one. And Remy had a line in Dreaming. She said that when she was in jail, she was dreaming about being at home with her family. But when she got home, she was dreaming. She had dreams that she was back in a jail cell, which that's something that I can't even fathom. Because I've never been in that place. But her and Joe, they really opened up specifically on Dreaming. And Money Showers, I like what Ty Dolla $ign did on that one. Ty, he's like the hook guy these days.
And then they had the new edition.
That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because they didn't even credit the sample in.
Yeah.
They didn't credit any of the samples in the album
what
booklet.
am I gonna do?
Let me ask you guys this. Now, this album actually came out February 17th. what I'm about to ask is gonna relate to this huge timeline I'm about to lay out. So All the Way Up came out last year and it peaked at number 27 on Billboard Top 100 in June of 2016.
Dang, it's been out that long?
Yeah, and they also released 2 singles. They also released Cooking and Money Showers. And audience, Fat Joe's son, Ride So Valid, he's actually on that song Cooking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Fat Joe's son. So from June all the way to February, what's that, 8 months?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge stretch in between your hugest single and an album. So let me ask you guys this. Did they drop the ball? Could this album have been bigger? Did they miss their opportunity for more sales and possibly another Grammy nomination?
Most definitely.
Yeah, they should have did it. Yeah.
I mean, when it dropped, I was looking for what was next.
Cooking, it's not one of my favorite songs on the album, but I think they had other singles that they could have released behind All the Way Up.
Yeah.
That would have done better than Cooking.
Spaghetti.
And Go Crazy probably would have done well.
Yeah.
Oh,
On the charts.
definitely. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Oh, yeah.
What were the Grammy nominees last year for Best Rap Album? It was The Life of Pablo, Coloring Book, Major Key, DJ Khaled's album, Schoolboy Q's album, the Blank Face LP, De La Soul's album, and The Anonymous Nobody, and there was another one, Drake's Views. Could this album have been nominated for Best Rap Album Grammy last year?
I definitely like it better than Views.
What about you, Vaughn?
Yeah, I like it better than Views.
I think
And Drake,
go
my
ahead.
boy. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
If they got the right push, I think they had the right single at the right time. And I think if they dropped the album probably 2 or 3 months later, if they released the right string of singles, I think they could have scored because they were nominated twice for All the Way Up. They could have walked away with 3 Grammy, and they should have walked away with the Grammy for All the Way Up.
Yeah. You know, it had to been something
What?
that was, yeah.
Politics and
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know if the Grammy voters, I don't even know if they listened to half of the records. It seemed like they didn't because, I mean, how could you not award All the Way Up
Right.
the best Grammy in at least one of those categories?
And I don't think nobody in this planet don't know what All the Way Up is.
Yeah.
The song.
Yeah, it's a good one. So, Riggs, will you recommend this album to a friend?
Definitely.
Vaughn, what about you?
I would. I have a couple of recommendations. I already have Go Crazy in my playlist. So
Yeah, I can't wait till Seven's album comes out.
I
Yeah, she's a looker.
don't know why I always get her mixed up with, I don't know who it is that I get her mixed up with. So I had to just pull her up just now to see her face visually.
But yeah, I would recommend this album to, all of those out there who like that traditional New York gangster rap. I mean, this is it. And I think the past year between this one and the Young M.A. and what Dave Easter's doing, I think I'm starting to feel real good about a lot of what's coming out of New York lately. So I'm proud of this album.
New Yorkers.
Yeah, there's a few on here I could probably throw away, but overall I think it's a very solid album.
I'd agree with that.
And it if you nasty, you gonna love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny,
You that freak, you gonna love it.
I don't look in Remy Ma is that way. Well, maybe it's just me and female rappers. There's certain female rappers that I can't, because there's never been a female rapper that I was like, yeah, I don't look at them in the same light that I do R&B singers.
Because it's the way they carry themselves.
Right. And Remy is very feminine. She's about as feminine as it gets. I mean, she has her hair laid out, the nails done, makeup done. But I just don't look at female rappers that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. I didn't notice till recently. She got a donkey.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. Remy got it. Remy
And
got
she
it.
bootylicious.
Papoose. Papoose, boy, you better doing something. Papoose better
Is
watch
it
out.
Papoose or?
Papoose. He a good dude though. That's I would.
Yeah, he love him. He love her.
Right. If he never does anything else in his career, I think he should be commended for sticking by his wife and not going anywhere for it. Because 6
Why
years.
should you commend him? That's what he should do.
Yeah, that's what he should do. But I'm just saying that a lot of dudes, and not just dudes, but people in general, they would leave. They would walk out and say, deuces, I can't do it.
Right. Well, he hold her son down because at the time he was 8. He held that down, you know. So, hey, but hey, a woman would stick beside a man. Why can't a man stick beside a woman?
Yeah, so congratulations to Fat Joe, Remy Ma, and shout out to Cool and Dre as well. Cool and Dre are actually a veteran production duo out of Miami. I'm sure you've heard their work. You know them for This Is How We Do, the Game and 50 Cent track, Ja Rule's New York, New York, Juvenile's Rodeo. They sampled the R. Kelly track and some other things. So shout out to Cool and Dre. They actually produced them and a guy named Exclusive. They produced Spaghetti, All the Way Up, Swear to God. They were on Warning, Go Crazy. So they produced the majority of it. So
okay.
So shout out to Cool and Dre as well.
Good job, guys.
So you guys have anything else?
No. Just everybody, if you like that sound, check out Murder Rap off of Jealous One Still Envy. That's a hard song with a hard flow.
Vaughn, you got anything else?
No.
All right, go ahead and shout some people out.
I'm going to shout out you guys, our listeners. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys so much for listening to us. It really motivates us to keep going. And with this show 50, I came in, I think, probably like at what?
17, 16?
Yeah, about 15, something like that. And I can see the growth in myself. So I thank you guys for inspiring me every week to go beyond what I hear.
There you go.
Oh, we thank you for that. We thank you for that.
Yes,
for that
I thank you
there.
guys. And to my usual suspects, you guys, my family, my friends, the listeners, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Riggs, what you got, man?
Oh, man, same thing. You know, Switch Style Podcast crew. My family here. My family there. Uncle E. All the people listening to the Switch Style Podcast, everywhere you are. And thank you. Please listen again. Fat Joe and them. Remy Ma. And you know what? I swear to God, is a dope song. I mean, that honestly, if they would have dropped that right after All the Way Up, boy. And then maybe, you know, the Go Crazy joint. But, yes, everybody.
Do they even get radio play?
I really didn't.
What? No, I'm
Go
saying
Crazy?
that's what they should have dropped, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying Go Crazy. You even hear it on the radio?
Well, no, they hadn't dropped that one as a single.
Okay.
I'm saying that's what they should have dropped.
Yeah, that's what they should have.
But I'm saying, do you hear it? You know? Yeah,
All the Way Up was really the only thing that I've. But if you're listening out there and you have a little radio show or something like that, you spin some records, man. Oh, and you want to get that crowd going? Swear to God, it's a dope track.
They need to let us do it. They need to let us executive produce some albums.
And I thank Joe for the line that he uses his name. And he said, that's why I call you Jose, because y'all do all the things these hoes say. Boy, yeah, that was a line right there.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm good, that's all, man. What about you, Jay?
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We sincerely appreciate it. Everybody in the UK, in Kansas City specifically, Los Angeles, everybody in Singapore, everybody in New York. Hopefully, New York, you get behind this show. You get behind Fat Joe and Remy Ma. From the Bronx, you get behind them and support them. But thank you, everybody. We sincerely appreciate you listening. Thank you, Riggs and Vaughn, of course. As always, you guys don't have to do it, but I appreciate you coming out every week. It means a lot to me. And thank you, Fat Joe and Remy Ma, Cool and Dre, Kent Jones, everybody involved in the making of Plata o Plomo. You made a
Plomo.
Yeah, there you go. I'm kind of excited to see what both of them do individually next, because they sound. Fat Joe, I know specifically, he sounded just about as hungry as I've heard him in 15 years. So thank you to both of them. And guys, that's it. That's a wrap on episode 50.
50.
So we're coming up on a year very soon, in about 2 weeks. But thank you guys again, and we'll see you next week. Peace.